Bring in your Really? Really?
Hi, Ronnie Bergeron. Nice to meet you, Joseph. Alan Barrett.
We should have thought of that.
I see. No.
No.
That's the kind of stuff you and I think of.
I know. Betty Osborne. It's nice to see you too.
A lot of what?
Well, probably because we're so wrapped up.
This is it. Yeah. No, Mr. Holland's coming. That's
Slow
it.
down.
He'll be a little late.
Especially you.
I want to say especially you, because you always come up with all that good stuff.
No idea. Nope.
Steady.
Let me show you what John's doing.
This is a regular scheduled public hearing of the Metropolitan Shreveport Zoning Board of Appeals. Please turn off all cell phones while the board is in session. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we have slips at the speaker stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, mailing address, and zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear first from the applicant, then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application may then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to speak. A written notice of the decision will be mailed to all applicants. Any member of the public may request decision and information on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 12 noon tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcaddompc.com. Any member of the public may also register to receive notifications for MPC meetings and agendas by clicking on the Notify Me icon on our website. If you wish to comment on an item that is not on the agenda, you will be permitted 3 minutes at the end of the public hearing. If you are not sure whether the item you are interested in is included on today's agenda, please include this question on the slip that you place in the box. Staff will ensure that you are provided an opportunity to address the board at the proper time. All of our decisions are subject to appeal, either the City Council or the Parish Commission, depending on the location of the property in question. If your application is appealed or requires final approval by a governing body, you are advised to contact your City Councilman or Parish Commissioner at your earliest convenience. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the appropriate governing body about their procedures as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this monologue providing follow-up information on the zoning process and phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. Before we begin with our cases today, I'd like for Mr. Jean to please come to the podium. He has a couple of announcements that we'd like to make.
Mr. Chair and the members of our commission, I got, I was contemplating what to say when I walked up here. I started to say, you want the bad news first or the good news first, and I decided it's really all good news. But there's a new face that you're going to begin to see in our meetings, and that person is Miss Ebony Mapp. And I would like Miss Ebony Mapp is our newest member of our staff. I'd like her to stand and introduce her to the public. And that's very good news. We're glad to have Miss Mapp. She actually was working in the community development department, and I think it was their loss was our gain, and we're very pleased to have her here. Ms. Mapp has education in planning, master's degrees in planning, and has been involved in special projects with the community development for over 2.5 years now. And so we've had the occasion to interact with Ms. Mapp on several occasions, and especially in public meetings, and so we're pleased to have her on board. And the reason why Ms. Mapp is here is because after 40 years of service, Ms. Ione Dean is going to retire. And now, one thing, that she was actually warned that we were going to say something. At the MPC meeting, she had no pre-warning. Matter of fact, she was up in her office. She got called down, and the first thing she said to me when she walked up, she said, "Is there a problem?" And I tried to state with a straight face that there was a problem, but she didn't believe me. And so we had a chance to have her say a few words. I'm going to do that in just a moment. But we also want to make sure that we let the public know, and I think many of you know from looking at the newspaper, but beginning on October 1st, as a matter of fact, that's interesting because it's actually an MPC meeting. So our new director, Mr. Mark Sweeney from Austin, Texas, will join us, and we'll have opportunities, of course, right around that time for Mr. Sweeney to be fully introduced to the community and to this board as well. So with that, I would like to have Ms. Ione Dean approach, and I wish I was near as eloquent as I was in the last meeting, but for some reason I'm not near as eloquent today as I am before. I guess I had way too much time to think about it, but one of the things that I did say, I recall saying at the last hearing, is that one of the things that you have seen her face here at the meetings, and many people have interacted with Ione through the years, and one of the things that Ione has really endeavored to do through the years is maintain the highest level of professionalism and customer service. And I see that over and over, day in, day out, and it is something that you have to have a heart for, and you have to want to help people. And that's one thing that Miss Dean has always done so well, and she's going to be missed, and she tells us she's going to stay in contact with us. So Ms. Dean, if you could come and say a few words.
Thanks. You know, I crawled him last week when he called me up here, and I didn't have any time to even think about anything. And actually, it's kind of like him. I think it was a good thing because I get real nervous, and I'm not a public speaker. I sit here and I flip maps. I don't have to talk. So now that I've had a week to think about it, I'm not going to say anything different than what I said to the MPC, but I'm probably going to be way more nervous about it. But the bottom line is, like you said, I have enjoyed being here for the 40 years that I've been here, and as they all probably know, some people may not, you can retire with 100% of your salary after 30 years of service. So someone that stays somewhere for 40 years is because they really like what they're doing. And I have thoroughly enjoyed what I've been doing, and one, because I like working with the public. I like giving the public the service that I would want to receive if I walked in our front door. I want to give them courteous service and accurate information, and I hope I do that. And the other thing that I've really enjoyed is I love the people I work with. Some of these people I've been with almost as long as I've been with my husband, you know, and so they're kind of like family to me, and I've really enjoyed that. And the professionalism of our staff just floors me every time. I work with such a wonderful staff that I'm just really excited about doing it. And I wouldn't have stayed here if I didn't have the kind of support I have. And the other thing is the boards that I work with. I really have enjoyed working with y'all. And some of us have gotten gray together, so a lot of us have a history. But I've really enjoyed working with all of y'all, and I want y'all to know that y'all are part of the reason why I have stayed 10 years longer than I needed to. I've thoroughly enjoyed what I've done. Thanks.
Thank you, Ione. Welcome, Miss Matt.
Thank you.
And Ione, I would just say boyfriend would be proud. All right, with those remarks, I would like to say that today we are instituting a new procedure, so please bear with us. In the past, we have called cases, heard all the cases, then taken a short recess, and then come back and voted on each case. Today, we are following in line with what the MPC is doing. We will hear a case and then vote on the case. After the case is voted on, if you no longer wish to stay, please take that opportunity to exit the auditorium, and then we will get on with the next case. It streamlines the procedure a bit, and so we are trying it out for the first time. So if there are a few glitches, if we don't, if we procedurally have some questions, you'll understand why. So with that, our first case today is BAC 37-14, 423 East 85th Street. Flower Hill Baptist Church.
Good afternoon. My name is Lee James, member of Flower Hill Baptist Church.
Mr. James, I need your full address, including zip code, please.
1033 Manor Place, 71118.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I think we was deferred and continued for today because we had someone else's, we had permission for the park on their place to put parking, but they reneged and changed the mind about parking. So we're not really asking to build anything else to where we got to have extra parking. We're just trying to maintain what we have and just a fellowship hall for to educate our kids with and with the same parking that we already had.
Okay, so just to be clear, on the two site plans we've got one that says the area here that is not owned by the applicant. That's what fell through.
Right, we withdraw. We
right.
withdrew that.
All right, so
And everything else around us has already been bought, and we just spaced out. We, like I said, we wasn't looking for anything with additional parking. We just wanted a fellowship hall for the actual church, what was already in existence to be fellowship in there.
so you've got the sanctuary that exists.
Right.
And so you're adding the fellowship hall, and
Yes.
so your contention is that your congregation is not enlarging.
No, it's
You're
not.
just adding another place where the same number of people
Yes,
can congregate
yes,
for different functions.
different functions.
Mr. Bergeron?
Yes.
This will not happen the same time as you're having church. You won't have a group.
Like after church, you might have a dinner or something with the
Okay.
kids. Then the after-school program for the kids. Really, the church is kind of, we don't have the facilities to put in Wi-Fi and everything. So we can put the computers over there, and we won't have to change and switch everything to get it out before we can get them in and educate them.
So just to be clear, this is a question for staff, just to be clear for the record, what we are giving a variance on is 28 spaces, is that correct?
Double check.
I think that's proper.
And so we're voting on today the special exception use
Yeah, for the
and
church.
the variance
And the variance.
of 28 spaces. Is that correct?
No, actually, what this is, the variance is already in place. What you're giving them, what you're doing is a special exception use, which changes, they've been adding to their special exception use. So the variance is already there. They have a variance for the parking lots that you have now. What's different about what was approved in the variance is they're adding another structure, which is a change in the special exception use.
Right, but that structure doesn't trigger more parking that we have to vary?
No, it doesn't normally, because the way that the parking is calculated is on the basis of the primary use. Now, one of the questions that came up before was if you had concurrent uses, that may trigger additional parking, because you have something where you have, let's say, you have an overflow area, and they are an overflow for the service, and they have screens set up there, and now that kind of activity would generate additional parking, because
Right.
it's,
So,
but
Mr.
if
James,
it is auxiliary or
I
accessory
guess
use.
the way to explain it, though, is if your church congregation were to grow, and you found a need for an auxiliary contemporary, we'll call it worship service, and you had a service going on in the main sanctuary, and then you had a youth service going on in the new building at some point in the future, and there are become parking issues and complaints about that,
Now, we
at
have a
that point, we
church,
may have to
we
address
have
the
a church
issue.
across the street that we fellowship with,
Right,
and we use their parking when they're not using their parking.
okay. Just so you know, if it gets to be a problem in the
Yes.
future, you may have to find some parking.
Right.
Right? Is that correct, Mr. Clark?
That is correct, but from my understanding, basically, this is just for after-school tutorial and
Yes.
after church service events where the kitchen or whatever warming facility will be for persons to transfer over into the fellowship hall.
Yes.
All right.
And that, they won't ever be in conjunction with each other.
All right, any more questions for Mr. James? Mr.
I
Jean?
just want to, Ms. Dean, do you have the site plan that does not include the parking lot? I've got one here, if you, okay, that one. Now, this particular site plan is what the board would be approving today. And I just want to make sure, sir, that this is what you're submitting for final approval, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and there was an area where you were parking some vans at one time on site, and that's no longer included when the new building comes in place?
Right, correct.
Okay. Those are some issues that came up in previous meetings.
Okay.
All right. Any questions for Mr. James? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 37-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 37-14? All right, at this time, the chair will entertain motions.
Move to approve with steps.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Cooper, second by Mr. Holland to approve with steps.
One minute, Mr. Chairman.
We ready? Please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. All right, tab 2, case BAC 39-14. This is the 9500 block Mansfield Road. Christopher Pearson?
Good afternoon. Chris Pearson couldn't be here today. I'm Roy Griggs, 10901 Sanctuary Drive, Shreveport Louisiana, 71106.
Thank you, sir.
We're seeking variance in operating hours of McDonald's. We asking for a variance to go to 24 hours.
All right, and this is pending a new site plan, is that correct, Mr. Jean?
Yes, and we did get that new site plan, and that is submitted in your packet.
So is the staff satisfied with the questions that have been raised earlier?
Yes, sir, those have been taken care of. Those were dealing with, just so for the record, what has deferred this case on numerous occasions was there was a desire by the state, who has jurisdiction over where these driveways and access management. There's two issues. One of the issues was there is what I would call a service road that will be introduced behind this location. And that service road, just as far as the subdivision plat that placed the right-of-way in place, just took place at the last MPC hearing. So this would allow for the site to actually function. And the second thing that's happening is they're actually going to build a looped portion of that, not the entire system, but a portion of the system, so it has ingress and egress that goes from Mansfield Road, from Pecos Point Drive, which is the new right-of-way. It comes back around and allows traffic to circulate back to Mansfield Road once again. There was a traffic impact study required, and that's why you had numerous deferrals in the past. It was not related to the actual 24-hour, but we wanted to make sure the site plan that you saw was the exact same site plan that was approved by the MPC. So that has all been taken care of, and we don't know of any other issues.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the board for Mr. Grigg? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 39-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 39-14? The chair will entertain motions.
I'll move to approve with steps.
Motion by Ms. Osborne, second by Mr. Cooper to approve with steps. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Case BAC 60-14, 762 Piermont.
Afternoon, my name is Tim Peters, Real Estate Development Manager for Circle K Stores, 541 Slattery Boulevard in Shreveport, 71104. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, appreciate your serving us today, and I just wanted to say thank you to Ione, because she was actually one of the very first people I met in the city of Shreveport when I first moved here 2 years ago, and she's been very helpful to me in helping me do my job for Circle K and help improve our stores here in the community. I'm actually going to ask for a deferral today for a couple of reasons. One is due to a legal notice issue for the MPC hearing that we had approval on the rezoning from B1 to B2 last month. We have to go back to MPC to have it reheard. And so there's been no decision from MPC effectively. We didn't even really have a hearing. And we are going to amend that to have the property rezoned from B1 to a portion will be B2 and a portion remaining B1. The other reason is in light of a lot of comments that were made from the community, I made a lot of changes to the site plan, and we also had a meeting with the homeowners in the area, and I've incorporated a few more changes on that issue. We're trying to set up another meeting with them before we start coming back to the hearing, so we haven't quite been able to arrange that yet.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you all working with the community, and I know this is becoming a drawn-out process, but thank you for your patience with us and the community. Any questions? All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 60-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 60-14?
Name's Trey Gibson. I represent my mother at 700 Piermont. I live at 5166 Towel Lane in Bossier City, 71111. Appreciate you here. We certainly were notified ahead of time of the deferment. We were able to notify most of the people in our group so that they wouldn't show up today, and so we're here to support the deferment and Circle K's efforts there.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Anyone else wish to speak against BAC 60-14? Need a rebuttal, sir? All right, the chair will entertain motions.
Move to defer and continue.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cooper, second by Mr. Holland to defer and continue for 30 days. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 66-14. .522 Ratcliffe. If you will pause just one moment, sir, we'll let the room clear.
Okay.
How are you?
All right, please.
My name is Jason Travinsky. My company's Versatile Construction. We're doing the work at 522 Ratcliffe for Ms. Ginsenhaus. And this is in regards to the carport enclosure and the storage extension towards the back of the garage that we were wanting to do.
All right, could you give it, the site plan we have, I'm not real clear. If you could just kind of explain what's existing.
The existing
What's going to
enclosure.
happen to it and the materials you're going to use.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. That is the existing garage, and the existing carport is
So
on this area right here.
So there's a garage with a door, without a door?
No, it's an enclosed garage with a double garage door right here, this
Right.
area. This area is an existing carport
Like a
that's covered.
lean-to type? Or
Yeah,
awning-
basically.
Awning with a post?
Well, no, it's actually a full structure with shingles and everything within
Same-
siding, same in keeping with the rest of the garage.
Same roof line as the garage? Just open area?
It's actually, no, not same roof line. There's a gable over this area, and then this is not a lean-to, but of adequate shed. It's over a 4 and 12 pitch.
Okay.
Again, we wanted to keep, it's all the same fascia board and everything like that. But again, this is existing. This is existing. This was an existing slab that we did maybe 5 years ago. And again, we did that slab. This house and project has been kind of an ongoing deal since 2008. From doing bedroom and kitchen additions to driveways to front porch, redoing the entire front porch of the house, really just making the house look correct to where, it's a nicer part of town and it needed to be updated. The existing slab back here, the rear property actually drains quite a bit towards the house.
Okay.
So this slab that we added, 4 years ago was to keep water from pouring into the garage. So,
How far above grade is it?
the back portion of the slab is actually 5 inches off of grade. And it does actually keep water. Beforehand, there was just dirt and sediment piled up against the back of the garage where over the years, there's probably 18, 20 inches of height difference just from the back of the garage to the property line. And then there's subsequent elevation from the rear property towards that property line.
Okay.
So that's really, it was just deteriorating, and, anything she put in the garage was soaking wet, so. And really the purpose of this deal is really and truly, she was actually attacked in her backyard getting out of the car, this is where she parks, in the shed, in the carport. So really our objective was to enclose that and put another door on it. Not changing anything property line wise, it's staying the same on the property line. And then on the back, using this existing slab and trying to move a little bit of storage out there for her.
Okay.
So,
The house is slab, pier and beam?
it's a slab.
And is it wood shingle, brick veneer?
It's actually got a lap
siding.
siding on it with a vinyl siding covering it.
So the exterior of the garage will be match material?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Travinsky? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, you keep that.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 66-14?
Hi, my name is Joylyn Dawes Genzenhoff, and I want to thank the board here for letting me speak. I live at 522 Ratcliffe Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. And I've owned this house for 10 years, but I've lived there and remodeled it with Mr. Jason's help. I am a retired school teacher of 39 years, and I'm divorced, live alone. And as Mr. Jason told you, I was physically attacked in my backyard. And as there's been notices that there's been other break-ins and robberies and what in the neighborhood, and living alone, I want to provide protection. And that was a very scary, scary thing for me. And so I do hope the board hears this and knows that it's a beautiful part of town, and everything I've done to increase the value of the property. And I want to thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak for BAC 66-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 66-14?
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Fleming, 515 Elmwood, 71104. My wife and I, Carolyn, and I have lived at 515 Elmwood for, about 34 years. We bought the house in 1980. Our property backs up to 522 McCormick, which is the subject of this hearing. And I've prepared a few slides.
Sorry, did you say McCormick?
I've said McCormick, but I meant Ratcliffe.
All right, just for the record, I want to be clear.
Sir?
Just want to be clear for the record.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. And the first slide here, number one, just positions the properties relative to one another. We're on Elmwood, south side of the street, facing north. 522 Ratcliffe is on the north side of Ratcliffe, facing south. And we pretty much back up to one another. The second slide gives you another picture of that with the dimensions of the lots shown in both cases. This comes off the assessor's website, and it just gives you some perspective on our relative position to one another. My involvement with this issue came about on June 4th or so. I got a call from my wife while I was at work. She said, you know, there's construction going on behind her house. And I said, well, I'm not aware of that. And when I went home and took a look at it, of course, I saw what was going on. And the next day I spoke to the MPC and asked what they could tell me about this issue. And I learned, well, I knew really, but I learned more clearly about setbacks and whatnot. And having looked at the piece of the construction going on, it certainly didn't seem to me that the construction was 5 feet from my property line, nor did it appear it was 5 feet from the property line on the east of 522 Ratcliffe. So, having talked to the MPC and gotten a little information, I called the permit section and learned there was no permit. There was no building permit. And I don't really know what happened at that point. They apparently either the permit section checked on it or possibly the contractor checked on it. But the long and the short of it is that the construction stopped that next day. There's been no more construction since that time, to my knowledge. And the permit folks told me that the last permit they had was for a front porch addition in 2010. And so I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure what happened. Then learned that there was the need for a rear setback, a side yard setback, and a detached accessory setback. Now, my wife and family and my grandchildren, we spend a lot of time in our backyard. Carolyn begins working in the backyard in the early spring and continues on through until it gets too hot. Slide 3 is an example of what our backyard looked like this spring. Slide 4 is as well. Now, I'd ask you to notice that the building or structure against my back fence, that's the garage in question. The extension to the left is the addition that was made incidentally without the benefit of a building permit in some recent years. It's 2.5 feet from the property on the east. Now, also, 5, again, is just a picture of the backyard during the spring. And so, you know, it's a very important part of our life, and particularly my wife's. So the proposed construction will, in our opinion, materially affect the aesthetics, if nothing else, of our backyard. And you can see from the picture that is number 6 that this is after the construction had began, and it's from our dining room table. So we will see essentially a wall several feet behind our back fence. 7, 8, and 9 are other pictures of the construction as it sits at the moment. There's nothing been done, to my knowledge, again. And if this wall is continued as projected, I mean, it'll essentially block us off. And some few feet from our back fence will be a wall, which to me is going to be 8 to 10 feet tall. I don't really know how tall it will be. Now, there was a comment about security concerns, and the application for the variance cites a security concern voiced by the homeowner. And I'm very sympathetic with that issue. And I see that the request for variance comments on break-ins and mentions the homeowner was assaulted. Now, I'd like you to look at page 10. That's a picture of the residence at 522 Ratcliffe. You can see on the back right a garage. You can see the structure extending over to the right. That's obviously the carport. That's the point at which it's 2.5 feet from the property line. You can see a metal fence. This backyard is encircled in fences, and the driveway is enclosed by what looks to me to be 6-foot iron fence. So what they're proposing is to simply enclose the carport and extend the back of the garage 5 feet, they say, 5 feet 6 inches. With respect to the security concern, I'm having a hard time getting it. Not the fact of it, I understand and sympathetic with it, but whether that garage is enclosed or not, there's another one just to the left of it that is enclosed. Whether that was enclosed or not, you got to get out of your car and walk to the back door. Either way. And of course, there's this fence. So I mean, you know, I just don't understand how that equates. 11 is just an observation. These are the 3 variances. This isn't just a simple setback. They're going, in both cases, but the variance they didn't get when they extended the carport, they need to get. They need to get a variance to the back fence, and they need to get a variance based on the size of the property. So this is not a simple, single variance issue. Now, slide 12, the only purpose of that is to show you their application depicts a line that is yellow and black. And on the next slide, which you saw earlier, was their depiction of the building. That they show you, they contemplate extending on 4 sides the existing garage and enclosing the carport. Now, that just didn't look right to me. When I went home that evening and looked at what I saw, I mean, I could all but touch it from my fence. And I had a surveyor go out there and take a look. And I'm running out of time, but you can look at 14, and you'll see this isn't what they suggest. This is 4.4 feet on the west side and 3.7 feet on the east side from my back property line. Of course, it's 2.5 from the property line on the east. So the the new construction is not quite what was suggested to you. One quick thing occurred to me this morning, that they're in the SWEPCO right-of-way for the power line. I mean, SWEPCO's got a 20-foot right-of-way, 10 feet for the most part. That's my experience they have on both properties. And this, by their own admission, they're moving within 5 feet. And my suggestion is they're moving even closer than that. My wife and I regret this disagreement. This isn't our style. We've been there 34 years, and I don't know that we've had a disagreement. And we don't have any disagreement with these folks. It's just that we don't view what they propose to do as appropriate. If it is a security issue, they could arguably enclose the carport.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fleming. I have to call time, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had a question.
Mr. Bergeron.
You started to answer, I think, the question I'm going to ask you. Is it the extension of the back portion the main issue? If they enclose the carport as it's roofed right now, you would be fine with that?
I'd have to say that it'd be hard to argue with that if the carport were enclosed. If we don't have a wall that goes the full length of the back of the garage and blocks us off altogether, I feel like we could accept that as an option. Yeah, it's really the extension of the garage to very close to the fence and the extension of it over to the east that results in just what I picture. Obviously, it's not there yet, but I picture is just blocking off the whole view from our backyard and from our den.
I don't mean to parse words, but I mean, it seems to be like you're not gaining, you're not losing much view now. The wall in question is well below the roof line for the majority of the existing structure on page 9, and there just seems to be a 2, 4, 6, 8 foot section of the left side that is blocking any existing daylight through here.
Well, I don't view it that way. I mean, you're welcome to come take a look at it. That's not what the facts are. This would extend over as projected to essentially the east line of their property, and comes back.
No, I understand it comes back, but
comes back
perspective-wise from the photograph.
That wall won't be that.
Sorry, you can't speak right now. Sorry, you'll get a turn again. So I just want to confirm with you, perspective-wise, from most of the photographs, like, here's the wall in question, you've already got a roof line coming up here, and masked by some foliage.
Look at 8.
Right, that's what I'm saying, on that side, you lose about an 8-foot portion, but.
Yeah, you know, and for what? To gain some storage. Now, that doesn't do a thing for the security issue, if there is a security issue,
Right.
which I think is likely doubtful.
Okay, well, that's, again, a matter of opinion. So any questions, further questions for Mr. Fleming? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak against case BAC 66-14?
I'm Carolyn Centel Fleming, 515 Elmwood, 71104. I've never met this pretty lady, and I hate to be a thorn in her side. I want her to get whatever she wants, I really do. And my husband's gonna kill me, but I'd be happy to pay to have that part by our
Ma'am,
fence
you
taken.
have to address us, please.
Okay, taken down. And if they would make it lower than the existing fence, then that's fine with me. It's just that the way it looks to me when I look out, I see this big wall, and it's claustrophobic. It's not, we built that bay window in the picture, and Jim Cott would tell you I drove him crazy because I wanted every inch I could to see in the backyard. That's my deal. But anyway, that's all I have to say, except why do we have restrictions if they're not to be supported? I don't understand that.
I will counter that with saying, why do we have a variance board? There's always going to be an exception.
All right, that's a good
We
point.
take each case by case.
Right, I agree.
'Cause you can't write an ordinance that covers everything.
Right, and I'm happy to work with them, you know, anyway, it's whatever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anyone else wish to speak against BAC 66-14? All right, the applicant has opportunity for rebuttal, only one person. No.
I do apologize. I didn't realize I would get a rebuttal. Could I use this as well? Here is, I think everybody's main concern is the view. Everybody's view is going to be blocked. I think that's the ultimate thing here. And from the pictures that gentleman provided, this back wall was framed in a balloon style. In other words, it's way larger than it's going to be. In other words, we frame it up high, and then all the rafters come to the wall, and then the top portion of the wall cuts off. Basically, we're just going to follow the exact same roof line here as it shows, and this is kind of the same picture showing that. This is, you know, this roof line just comes out and goes up. The majority of that large wall that is supposedly blocking view, it's going to look exactly like the building that's there now. It's just
Right, so you're going to run the roof to it and then trim off.
then trim. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. And I mean, I certainly don't want to argue with any surveyor. But again, here's another picture that I showed, like from the driveway point of view. You know, this will all be gone. And I think, again, if it's the same exact elevation that you're looking at, which is exactly what it's going to be, it's not going to be any different, any taller, it's just going to be further, closer to the property line. That's essentially it. And as far as safety and everybody else is concerned, I mean, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but when stuff is routinely missing from properties, and that fence that's in the front of the house, that's not a security fence. That's more aesthetic than it is security, because that fence can be opened. There is an actuator arm on it that you pull the pin out and the fence swings open. It's not designed to keep people out of the backyard by any means. And again, as far as this is what we have from the very back portion of our deal to the property line, and it's just shy of 5 feet. I know he's coming up with a 3-foot measurement. I'm not sure where they're getting that. But again, as far as aesthetics and everything, what the homeowners see behind it is exactly what will be there. just closer to the property
Same
line.
shape,
Same shape, same materials, same everything.
Okay.
And the lady who I believe is the neighbor over, I mean, they have, and I know this is a moot point to discuss because I know what's pre-existing is pre-existing. I mean, you know, everything, they have buildings that are 30 inches off of the property line. And that's the case with, I would say 85, 90% of the houses in that area. I mean, there's just grandfathered in buildings, you know. And she stares at that building every day, you know, so, which, you know, you don't want to argue that, but, you know, it's part of living in that area. It's not, you know, houses do sit on top of each other over there, so.
On the picture that you showed that had the windows behind it, what were those windows?
The last one you showed,
I think it was your last.
from the front of the garage.
I don't know that I had a picture.
It shows the cutoff of the balloon
these?
wall.
These, yes.
The other, yeah, that one.
Now, what are
This,
those windows?
this right here, that is from Miss Ginson Hall's driveway, looking directly
To the rear.
over the carport and into the gentleman's window right there. So again, this
To Mr.
line,
Fleming's window? That's your house?
yeah, this line of sight will be exactly the same line of sight. We're not gonna build anything two-story, anything obtrusive. It's gonna look exactly like it did before, so.
Okay. Any more questions for Mr. Travinski? Bergeron? Wait, Mr.
I guess,
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have a question.
I was curious why the variance and permitting process wasn't gone through with before
Well,
construction started.
that's a good point, and I will tell you this, anything that we always do, we permit, no matter cost, but no matter time frame, whatever. As a matter of fact, every addition, everything that we've done out there has been permitted. Only problem is, you know, the customer requested and asked me if, because we had to go through a variance when we did the back addition for time constraints and just to go ahead and, let's go ahead and see, you know, get this thing done. And I said that it may be an issue, we may have to go through a hearing. Let's go ahead and try to do it, and I certainly want to try to, you know, you know, try to make the customer happy. And if anybody should be punished, it's me, obviously, not Miss Ginson Halls, because she's the one who needs to, you know, feel safe and feel like her belongings are in good order. And that was really the reason we did it. So I think it's a nervous issue for her being there by herself. So that was the whole gist behind that. But again, everything we've done out there, we've always permitted. So.
Okay. And you are currently permitted for this project?
No, we are not. That's correct.
You know?
Mr.
I'm
Clark?
just trying to get an understanding, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
You were stopped from working
Correct.
because you were not permitted.
Correct.
You could not get permitted until you get the approval by this board.
Correct.
Right.
That's why they're not permitted.
I guess my question is, you will be permitted?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yes, of course.
All right. Any more questions for Mr. Travinski?
I have one
Sure.
after done for the Flemings. After, I have a question for that.
They can't come back. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Think fast. All right, board will the chair will entertain motions.
I'd like to bring up a comment.
But we need a motion, then we can have discussion.
A motion that we approve with stipulations.
Okay, motion to approve with steps by, excuse me. Motion to approve with steps by Mr. Bergeron. Second by Mr. Holland. Discussion?
Yes, I would like to know, now that it's been clarified, how that roof line's going to look, if that still is an issue with the person, the Flemings.
That's a good point, but we can't bring them back. I mean, Mr. G, no, sorry, ma'am, you can't speak. We're bound by our rules. Ms. Osborne, you have a comment?
Well, You know, I don't know a lot about construction. If it's up here and they're not happy, but then it comes down because of the roof line and all, that opens up a lot of the view that they thought they weren't going to have. Am I understanding that
That is
right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at page 9, no, sorry, page 8 on the handout he gave us, that corner there that is blocked by that stud wall will go away and will follow the existing roof line of the existing carport.
So actually, the view will remain the same. It just gets a little closer to their fence line.
Correct.
Now, if you look on page 3 too, you see the east side of the backyard, which represents the garage roof that's on the property to the east of the applicant here.
Correct.
See how that garage level, it looks like it's blocking the view to a significant height.
Exactly my point earlier. It seems like they've already, many obstructions existing, and now that we've had the explanation, it seems like there will be virtually no new impact.
Being pretty much muted.
Right.
So what we're doing is just the inches.
Yeah, so what we're voting on is the variance in the rear and side yard setback as well as the size, which the size is a standard, in my experience lately, standard because of new vehicle sizes. It's hard to get a 2-car garage or any kind of storage structure that meets the 625 or the 675.
Especially with the older houses.
Right. All right, motion on the floor is to approve with steps by Mr. Bergeron, second by Mr. Holland. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Case BAC 67-14, 5237 South Lake Shore. Sir, if you'll wait one moment, we'll let the gallery clear, and then I will let you begin. All right, sir.
Thank the board for hearing my case this afternoon. I'm Don Alexander, 5237 South Lakeshore Drive, and we're asking to add a room to the existing studio. It's about a 400 square feet, and we have some photographs of maybe the plot plan.
Yeah, it's a big one. Do this to show it a little bit. Trying to get your, when we were so I can show them where.
Good, okay, good, that'll be good. Okay, right here is this little box area, it's 20 by 20, added to the existing cinder block building, and that building needs to have a new roof, so we said at this time we would request to have a 20-foot by 20-foot by 20-foot room added on to the studio. Right now we work on such big projects, and you cannot see the back side of this, but that's where the room would be, on the back side.
It says it's an art studio. What kind of projects do y'all do?
Large paintings. My wife, she's a teacher at Caddo Magnet High. She painted all the buses that you saw in town. I painted the murals on the Holiday Inn, the Rose, and the Tourist Bureau building, but we didn't have that come out of the studio. But we have there's 2 paintings, one to be cleaned and varnished that I do, and it's 5 feet by 15 feet. And there's no place in that building as it exists that I can do that. Then there's another mural to be painted on canvas and installed out at the the very first airport. And it's 7 feet by 14 feet. And there's just no place to work in that building. And so I do freelance work. And
All right. I guess the only real concern I think that staff and the board have is that this does not become a commercial or
No.
place of business where
No, no,
where you're
no.
not having clients come
No.
or anyone come to purchase art.
No,
This is
it's our
strictly a
work
private
area.
studio that you work in.
that is correct.
All right. Any more questions for Mr. Alexander?
May I show something?
Sure.
When we were setting up the case, I want to show an example of what they do.
Oh, sure.
When I'm setting up the case, you know, in this district, they can't have livestock. And he turned in pictures of his house, and all of a sudden I'm looking, and there's this horse in one of these sheds. Now, if you look at the yard, I mean, it doesn't look like a horse has been riding in the yard or anything like that. And so I had to call him and say, sir, you can't keep livestock on your property.
The painting.
It's a painting.
It's a
The horse never moves.
It's a 4-foot by 8-foot panel screwed to the wall.
All right, I see that we're also voting for a number of detached accessory structures. Mr. Clark, is that to correct a non-conforming or a
3,
current? Okay,
it's non-conforming.
right,
You will approve it by adding it.
okay. All right. Any more questions for Mr. Alexander? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 67-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 67-14? All right, the chair will entertain motions.
Move to approve with steps.
Second. Motion by Mr. Cooper, second by Mr. Bergeron to approve with steps. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 68-14, 4724 Thornhill. We have a request to withdraw. You'll notice the letter in your packet or in your book. Is there anyone here to speak for this case? Is there anyone here who is wishing to speak against the case? All right. Chair will entertain motions.
Move for it to be withdrawn.
Motion to withdraw.
Second.
Mr. Bergeron, second by Mr. Cooper, I believe. Mr. Cooper or Mr. Holland?
Mr. Holland.
Cooper, you're now on record. All right. Please vote. Has everyone voted?
Mr. Cooper.
Mr. Cooper?
You good?
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 69-14, 2301 Jamison Street.
Good evening. To Carlos Jones, 1722 Booker T. Washington, 7107.
Did you say Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. What can we do for you?
I was trying to get a mobile home put up.
All right, now, for us, mobile home can mean several things. Can you just be more specific? Is it a single wide? Is it a double wide?
Double wide.
Double wide manufactured home?
Yes, sir, for brewers.
All right. And
I had asked him to give you a picture or something. Did they never got a picture of it?
tell us about the neighborhood. Are there other double wides and manufactured homes in the neighborhood?
Yes, sir, there's a few, there's one across on both sides, in front and on the right side.
All right, our map indicates there's a structure on this property. Is that no
sir,
longer there?
It's been torn down already.
So you're replacing that with this. Our standard questions are, will it be skirted and
yes, sir,
and landscaped in front?
Yes, sir.
Made to look like a stick-built, site-built
Yes, sir.
home?
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, it doesn't matter, but where's it coming from? Who are you buying it from?
Brewers.
Brewers, okay. All right. Any, I guess, is this for you to live in?
Yes, my grandmother, my father, me, my grandmother, my father.
All right.
Since there are two in the neighborhood, you haven't had any concerns from the neighbors, have you?
No, sir. I'm 40, and she been there since she was a child, so, yeah.
All right. Any more questions for Mr. Jones? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 69-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 69-14? All right, the chair will entertain motions.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Bergeron.
Second.
Second by Mr. Holland. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 70, pardon me. BAC 70-14, 600 block East 73rd Street.
Hi, my name is Carlos Daniels, reside at 622 East 73rd Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. I'm basically requesting permission to have a double-wide manufactured home installed on the property before you.
All right.
Reason being, at 622 East 73rd, it's a property that I inherited from my grandfather, and there are two adjacent lots. And my circumstances are, I had two surviving sisters of his that were elderly, that and one just passed. They were living together there at 622 East 73rd. One passed earlier this year, March 18th of this year. And that leaves an 84-year-old auntie that I have to care for and look for. And me and the fiance and the kids have moved in. I have two boys and a little daughter that's 1 year and 6 months now. So, and it's just a matter of space within that house. It's an old shotgun house that my grandfather's father built and has been added on to the years. So with the two adjacent lots, basically because of my financial situation, we were kind of looking to move elsewhere, but I figure I own the property. I've had it for a number of years. We'd like to just have a double wide put in on adjacent properties, so we'd be, close to the house next door and able to look after, my elderly aunt. There was a question as to whether or not there were any other double wides within the area. I have like 3 pictures of within like a couple of blocks. I don't know if you'd like to see those or whatnot.
Sure. I have a question for staff. It looks like, and these are often misleading, but it looks like on the notification map, has this been subdivided, or is it one big lot that he's adding this to?
It's 2 lots and 12.5 feet, a portion of a third. So it's, what you're looking at is a tax assessor's map, and they just combined them, but no, they're separate lots, and if you can look on the site plan, you'll see the dashes for the, lot lines.
So this is not a secondary residential?
No, this is cleanly on a lot by itself with all the required setbacks.
Mr. Clark?
And one of the questions we had, Mr. Chair, was since you have 2 and a portion of another lot of land, that did you ever consider replatting this into one lot and making the manufactured home horizontal instead of vertical to the street? It looks a whole lot better, and it fits in a whole lot better with the character of a residence by doing that, because it looks more like the remaining houses that are out on East 73rd.
Okay, got you now. Of course, that's the way originally I planned it, and I would like to have had it done because of what you said. It does appear better that way. But the existing house at 622 East 73rd is that house and the 2 adjacent lots that you see. There are 3 separate 40-foot lots.
Right.
Well, my grandfather had done whatever, like I say, it's a house that they built, him and his father built, that he had, it's passed on. But it actually kind of comes over 20 feet into the other lot. So it doesn't, so instead of having 2 40-foot lots over here, I've got a 40 and a 60, and to turn a 76-foot wide horizontal, it would be like literally within 10 or 15 feet of the other house. So the only option was to take advantage of the furthest, the third lot and turn it long ways, and then that leaves the space in between the two. So I was kind of stuck with that situation because of the way the prior house that I'm in is set up now.
Thank you.
Your fence is like over here.
Yeah.
His fence is not on the property line, it's like more right, there's a fence, existing fence that he would have to take up.
In which I had planned to have just taken down, and it would
Don't
just
tear
be an
down the
open
fence.
space between, yes.
So lot 20 and lot 19 are 40 feet each?
Yes, according to Ms. Ion,
And then you've got 12 and a half feet of lot 18.
yes.
That's 92. And what size is you got a 76-foot?
Give you an 8-foot offset on each side.
What's your
Required
business?
to have 5 feet.
Right, it's your business. I'm just curious, what's the long-term plan for the current home at 622?
It's kind of up in the air. My thing is with my auntie is just, a question of like a nursing home. She doesn't want to be in a nursing home. We don't want to put her there. Who's to say my auntie that just passed, it was right before her 91st birthday. My aunt that's still there, she's 84. I have no idea what her health's going to be. She's had knee surgeries, back surgery.
Right, but looking forward, 10 years from now, are y'all going to rehab this property? Are you going to maintain it?
But because it's been passed down, I inherited from my grandfather when he passed in like '02. Actually, he didn't pass until later, but I attained it in '02. I plan to keep it long term. I have no intention of getting rid of it.
Okay.
I may redo some remodeling or whatnot. I have relatives. It may become a rental property. Everything's kind of up in the air. So, but I intend to keep it, from here on out.
Only reason I ask, if it was a property that may be going away, if you turned the new one and lived with the distance for the short term, the long-term benefit would be that you had a home facing the street.
Yeah, I understand, but see, I have no intentions of getting rid of, so.
That's fine. All right, any more questions? Excuse me. Mr. Daniels.
These are the pictures he just gave of other mobile homes in the area.
And those are all, one is like 1 block over, one down. Those are all within a 0.5-mile radius of where I live now. And there was one other one that's like 2 blocks up that's on the Line Avenue. And it's on Line Avenue. And it's actually, and that's when the picture I took then when I tried to print it out, it didn't come out, but it's actually turned long ways.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I got the idea of doing what I'm doing with mine. And it's on a main stretch and a main business avenue instead of.
You sure it's not facing the street? Look like I saw.
It's on Line Avenue.
My glasses don't work as well as they
With
used to.
Turner Lane and the intersection of Turner
Go back to
Lane.
that one now.
Yeah, these are all facing long, but the other one is.
He doesn't have a picture of that.
I don't
Oh,
have a
you don't
picture
have
of
a
that.
picture of
one,
that. So
I'm
these 3 are all facing
Yeah,
the street, and you see how well they look?
yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 70-14? Oh, sorry, Mr. Jean.
I just want to remind, you may have already been looking at it, but remind you that you do have photographs of this property as part of your online agenda.
Right.
So when you scroll down past the reports, you actually can see photographs. So you can see how much room he has left there, where the existing fence is. If you click on, there's one that says interactive map and the other one that says the case. The case, you can scroll down. This is something that Mr. Clark and his staff have been doing for the last several months. If you go to photo 5 of 6, it clearly shows the area that he's looking at there of the vacant property. It's just another tool that you have available to you. I mean, I realize that most of you go in and look on the interactive maps.
Right.
This is also something that we do as well.
Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 70-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 70-14? All right, the chair will entertain motions.
Move to approve with steps.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Motion by Mr. Cooper to approve with steps.
Second.
Second by Mr. Holland. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAC 71-14, 4000 Lakeshore Drive.
Hello, my name is Wyatt Kurakra, owner of Union Investment, 4000 Lakeshore Drive, Shreveport 71109.
Could you repeat your name, your last name, please?
Wyatt Kurakra.
Thank you.
And I did update this building recently for a branded Valero gas, and it's up, opened and running. I'm here requesting beer license in order to meet the expectation of service for a gas station convenience store. And I'd be happy to answer any question the staff may have.
I understand that you've been in contact with the staff about parking, and we're going to get a new site plan.
Yeah, I do have lot number 5. Do have 30 parking spaces. Lot number 5 can have by itself around 14 parking space. If I add that to the property.
Okay. Mr. Clark, this is have you had a chance to look at this?
I'm looking at it. I haven't seen that.
If the parking is the issue, I do have plenty of
So
parking
the lot
spaces.
5 is where you go.
Yeah, I own lot number 5. I didn't include it because I didn't want to spend the money unless I get a pre-approval first. If you guys approve it, I have no problem making lot number 5 for parking.
Okay, so with the approval stipulation that
Yeah,
that you meet this new site plan?
Yes.
All right. And so, let's see, so you're asking for package sale of beer and wine, and operating to 11. Just for the record, what is by right?
If the hours is the
10
issue.
o'clock.
10 o'clock is by right?
I don't have a problem operating to 10. If that's the issue, it really don't matter.
Okay.
Right now, we closing early anyway.
All right.
Mr. Jean has a question.
Sorry, Mr. Jean?
This is the first time that we've seen this site plan. I think what we'd like to do, because one of the, we really appreciate you taking the time to prepare it. Well, one of the reasons that we made some comments was in relationship to how this site maneuvers is why we thought we might need some additional spaces. And it's still showing some of the spaces here that we still think could be problematic.
Yeah.
So what would be good if you were to incline to approve, I would still like to see you have a revised site plan that staff works with them on. We would need to work with this a little bit, and I'm not 100% sure the driveway location going back to Lakeshore is in a location that is approved by the city engineer. So, we would like, if you're going to grant the approval, still keep the revised site plan stipulation in there and allow us the opportunity to work with them a little bit. I think this help is very helpful, but we're not quite there yet.
Understood.
By the way, there is a driveway already in there. That property used to be a house, lot number 5. So there is an existing driveway in there already.
Well, sir, just to let you know, when we're dealing with a commercial property and we're dealing with the city engineer's office, they have a process called a driveway permit. Whether there's a physical driveway there now, they still have the right to approve additional paving as it relates to the traffic that connects to the road. And we still would need to work with them to be sure that they don't have any issues.
of
We
course.
don't know for sure now that they do, but we would. need to
I will
do
make sure they're happy with the job. I mean, I will meet all the expectation, all the requirements, but whatever the code asks for, I have no problem. But I do have more than enough space to have 18 parking space, that's what we need.
Okay.
So the 18 will require,
So
he has an excess of 18, so some of them would have to be eliminated because they're not acceptable. He still would meet the parking
Right.
requirements.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, are you aware of any concerns of opposition?
I'm sorry.
Any opposition, are you aware of any?
No.
Have you spoken to any of the neighbors? Has anyone raised a complaint to you about it?
I didn't apply for alcohol because if there's one person hates alcohol, it's me. I hate alcohol and I don't like to sell it. But it's just the people who's asking for it. I have tens of people coming to us every day asking for it. It became just an expectation for the customer to come to a gas station and see alcohol. Unfortunately.
And you
Ask
have,
me if I need it, I really don't.
right, and you have,
Part of the business.
two pumps?
Yes.
All right.
It's a little brand new gas station.
Right. All right, so, just to be clear, well, no, we're fine. All right, any more questions for Mr. Caraco?
Yes.
Now, was it beer or
It is beer and wine.
beer and wine?
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
This low content wine,
Yes.
You checked high alcoholic content, real wine and not wine coolers, right?
All I need is beer. If you guys approve beer, that's enough for me.
beer and wine coolers, that's what the low.
Yeah, he had checked the high alcoholic.
I don't
one,
really
but-
care about
But if
wine.
that's all he needs.
If it's beer, that's enough.
All right, so you would be satisfied with beer,
That's exactly right.
There we go.
Or low contents of wine.
beer and low wine. Got it. Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 71-14? Speaking for? Come forward, please. I need your name, full address, including zip code, please.
Donnie Ray Washington, 71109, address 4202 Lakeshore Drive, apartment 105. Phone number?
No phone number.
Yeah.
All right. Please.
I just want to talk for the young man just left of here.
Okay.
He got a nice store and everything. He's just looking out for the community and everything, nice and clean around there. Cause I stay in the apartment complex. I work with security around there and everything. And he a nice guy and everything. Got his store looking real nice. Keep it up and everything. I just come down here to talk for him and everything. Cause I've been at the apartment complex 20-some years. And I'm 60-some years old. I'm just looking out for him.
Has there been a convenience store there in the past?
Well, it's been a while back. It's been a while ago.
And where is the next nearest place for you?
To the store?
Right.
Oh, the next nearest up there on Cursor Lane, Greenwood Road, the Circle K.
Okay. And which is how far away for you?
That's too long for me to walk.
I understand. All right. Thank you very much.
He'll make a good one.
Okay.
I do it.
All right, yeah, just put that right there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, anyone else wish to speak for case BAC 71-14? Anyone wish to speak against BAC 71-14?
My name is James Gardner. I'm the attorney for the ARC, Caddo Bossier. I've also been a board member for, 35 years. My mailing address, I'm the agent for service, P.O. Box 1534, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71165-1534. And we got a very late notice of this If you look at the attachment on the letter I handed out, it's dated the 25th of July, which was a Friday. My office is across the street in Barrett Tower, and our post office box is in the downtown branch of the post office. If this was put in the mail that Friday, after 4 o'clock, the mail had been picked up at the buildings around downtown. And so it might not have gone out as early as the 29th. My post office box received it last Friday. Art nor I knew anything about this application. Although our daily runner picks up the mail about 9 o'clock, and they don't always box everything up at the post office until 10:30, according to the notice they have. It might have gotten there Thursday, August the 7th, but I just question why it took at least 10 days, if it was picked up as late as Monday the 29th, to get to our box as early if it was last Thursday the 7th after our mail pickup. So,
I would say that's a question for the Postmaster General.
yeah, well, I don't know. I've been with this firm 40 years, and I never had a piece of mail in downtown Shreveport take 10 days to get to me yet. So, anyway, I got high behind with the executive director. In 1984, we formed the corporation which the ARC owns and operates, because you have to have a separate corporation for HUD projects, Louisiana Disabled Persons Housing Corporation, to construct apartments for the disabled or elderly, and ours are for the disabled. Some of them may get to be elderly living there, but there are 2 sets of 12-unit independent apartments, and one is right across the street from where it was shown up there from the Valero, which has been there, and it's operated till 10 o'clock. So it's not the 11 o'clock that bothers us as much as any alcohol sales, because alcohol sales in convenience stores produce hanger-outers, substance abusers that hang out, and we see that as a threat to our people who, most of them have mild to moderate intellectual disability, which means they can live in these apartments with minimal supervision. They're at the higher level of functioning. They tend to be very vulnerable people subject to being taken advantage of. We see them getting panhandled at the least, and worst, who knows, you know. So our board and executive director wrote this letter that I distributed today because we just didn't get notice in time to deal with your Wednesday deadline, or we'd have had. So in fact, I had to drive out there to figure out whether we're talking about the existing Bolero or the southwest corner is a different lot with a new convenience store going in, but I see that it is the Bolero, and I just think when you introduce alcohol, you introduce another problem. And we have the other 12-unit complex to the east of this Valero, a little further down the street, but it's also, if you go down a block, much closer than the location all the way to Curtis Lane on Lake Shore. If you go up to Jewella, you've got Cotton's Grocery as far as access to groceries and things at convenience stores sell, and probably have access to alcohol too. And if we'd rather them hang out up there than down here at the Valero by selling beer and wine, frankly. And we just see it as a threat to our population. So we oppose the alcohol permit altogether.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak against BAC 71-14?
My name is Andy Clayville. I reside at 3810 Dilg League Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana 71109. I've been living there about 14 years. Moved there in 2000. I'm against the alcohol sale altogether. We don't need that over there. And for as notification, I didn't get notified at all. I saw a little sign, it was there one day, and the next day it was gone. I actually have 2 residences on that same street, in the same block, and we looking at this store. Now, there was a store some years back, McGinney's Groceries. Okay, I don't know if they sold beer or liquor around that time. I remember going in there when I was a boy, fishing rods and all of that. For as stores, they got Save-A-Lot, Cotton's, Family Dollar, everything's right there, right around the corner. We have access to stores, probably not liquor sales. They probably have to go a little further for liquor sales, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. The street that I stay on, I stay in a little section, okay, in between Lakeshore and Juella, okay, on Deal League in that section. It's 25 miles an hour. In years past, people have been barreling down that street and having wrecks and almost killing somebody, okay? And I'd hate for somebody that's already inebriated, trying to get a little more higher, going to his store, trying to buy some beer, and run over somebody and kill them. So we don't need that over there. And for as notification, I don't think too many people know about this or what's going on here today.
I seem to make this comment at every meeting, but I will make it at this one as far as notification goes, just as an effort to educate those who are here. First of all, if you see this circle, if you're within that circle, you typically get a letter from the staff. Now, hold on. What is required by law is that we post a public notice. We do that in 2 ways. One is a sign that there's a picture of, I believe we have, with a sign out there, and also a notice in the newspaper. The letter we send out is a courtesy, not requirement.
Okay.
I just want people to be clear about that. We often get people up here adamant about, I didn't get my letter. That is not a requirement for us to do. That's what we try to let as many people as possible know in a timely manner. But it is posted publicly in the newspaper, which is also on the newspaper's website, and also by the sign posted in the front.
Okay, that's how I saw it, the little sign.
So now, if you were within that circle, you should have received a letter.
I didn't receive a letter.
Okay.
I mean, is your house either one of those houses, or are you further down the street? Here's the corner, and these would be the houses.
I'm here and here.
You're here?
Mm-hmm.
This one or this one?
I don't know exactly,
Oh, okay.
unless you got an address. The address is on
Okay,
those.
well, it looks like.
But
you're
I'm at
inside the circle.
1613 and 3810. I own 1613, but I live at 3810.
Okay. At any rate, I just want to make that clarification. I try to do that as a public announcement, because there's some confusion sometimes about our notification procedures.
Okay, well, I was just making that comment only because, it's only 2 people here, and he was saying he got a notice late, and I didn't get one at all.
Okay.
And I was just letting the board know that many people probably don't know that this is being applied for. So, just to let y'all know, notify y'all. If they saw that sign, they only saw it for a brief moment, because I saw it one day, and the next day was gone. So, they probably don't know to oppose this or speak in favor of it. So, the store looks nice. It's a nice store, like he said, and, nobody has any problem with that. But I also have concerns, and I know how people will hang out and, ask for money to get.
And I'll address that too. That becomes an enforcement issue, and it is incumbent upon those in the neighborhood, if you see that happening, to notify the police department. Right? That's how that happens. He can police his property, but once they step off his property and hanging out on a vacant lot, he can't control them. Now, if you see loitering on his property and it's not being handled, call and make a complaint to the police department, call Mr. Clark, and it becomes an enforcement issue from that end. But everyone has to take part in the process. And that's how that happens. We don't see that, we can't look at every business every day, and neither can the police department. They require on citizens making complaints and making them aware of issues. So, I don't know how the board's going to vote, but and whether there's alcohol there or not, if you notice activity happening that should not be happening, it's incumbent upon everyone who's concerned about it to make the effort to let the authorities know so that enforcement can begin.
Okay, well, the other thing I have to say, 14 years that I've been there, I never had a problem at my residence, never. Okay, I born in Lakeside, moved to Queensboro, and moved to that area where I'm at now. That's the 3 houses I've been in my life. And I can actually, believe it or not, leave my door open if I want to. You know, I've done that by mistake. Nothing ever came up missing. I never had a problem. Nobody ever broke in or tried to take something off the property. You know, I like to continue that.
All right.
You know, so I don't know, you know, who might be wanting liquor and, you know, come over to get what they want. And I just mentioned the hanging out thing, and you just addressed that. But those are my concerns. People that weren't there before, and people that are barreling down the street, which has happened in the past, and which may happen even more if you approve this.
All right.
So.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Mr. Clark? Mr. Clayville, could you, just wait, Mr. Clark has a comment for you, and then see if anyone has questions.
I've truly enjoyed your comments, and I think that you really need to use your energies to make our neighborhoods much better neighborhoods by pointing out things that you're talking about. If sites turn into be sites that are going down, becoming blighted, becoming sites of illegal activity, too often we don't notify the police department. The police department stands ready at all times to deal with illegal activity. And that's the only way that we keep neighborhoods safe, is make sure that Shreveport police is aware of what's going on. Too often we become quiet and become afraid that we'll be called snitchers and allow activity to continue. Young people like yourself, and I like what you're saying about where you live, how you feel comfortable going out of your house, leaving your door open, which was a time in not too distant past that all of us could walk out of our houses and leave the doors unlocked and come back and everything is in place, but not to prolong anything. But if you use that energy to ensure that that neighborhood remains that neighborhood that you want it to be and get involved, I think it'll be somewhere you'll be proud to live forever.
Okay, thanks, sir. Yeah, some people told me not to come here today, that somebody was gonna oppose it, but I said, well, I can't just leave that up to chance, so I thought I'd come and say
You did a great
something.
job, and it's really enlightening and proud moment to see a young man like yourself coming down expressing your ideas to this board.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Clayville. Anyone else wish to speak against BAC 71-14? Mr. Caracca, would you care for a rebuttal? You have an opportunity if you wish. Okay. All right. Chair will entertain motions.
Let's go, motion first before any other.
Yes. No.
Can't say nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're into voting now, sorry.
Did he make a motion?
No, we need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the steps.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Osborne, second by Mr. Holland. Discussion?
What stipulations were you going to include the beer only 10 p.m. or were we going to modify those stipulations?
Well, one needs to be subject to revised site plan per Mr. Jean's request.
Yep.
That needs to be added. He has indicated that he doesn't necessarily need wine, although he's asked for it, so we could take that off if we so choose. He also indicated that he would be happy with the hours that he has by right, which would be eliminating the 11 p.m. So that leaves us, if we take those off the table, with beer only. Or beer and low alcoholic content wine, which is wine coolers and the like.
And another site plan, what did you say about the site plan?
He's provided a revised site plan that the staff and DOTD, the city engineers have not had a chance to review. Our approval will be subject to their approval of that site plan, based on the additional parking he's provided. He was asked to provide more parking, and he's done that. But if there's any tweaking that has to happen, like a driveway or access that the city engineer would request, that could be handled without him coming back or without us deferring this till next month, as long as we put the stipulation in that he will not receive the CO for Mr. Clark until the site plan has been approved by the city engineer and staff.
Now,
Mr. Jean?
The one issue, when he expands that, he has to go to the MPC for approval for the site plan.
Right.
So, but if you look at, you have alternatives A and B. The alternative B covers the stipulations that we talked to you about. So if you just, when you go to the, if you have additional stipulations in addition to alternative B, which is the development of property shall be in substantial accord with a revised site plan showing 6 additional spaces in addition to a lot to the south. And then, of course, the standard language after that. And then the 2 lots be platted into 1 lot prior to the issuance of permits. But you don't have to stipulate the site plan approval. That's a requirement.
Right.
And of course, the church in the vicinity is nowhere near this establishment.
Mr. Clark, Mr. Cooper asked about a church in the vicinity, which is referenced in another letter we received. I'm assuming because it's not mentioned, it is outside the prescribed distance?
It is outside the 300-foot restriction based on the manner in which we do measurements.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
This is where it is, and it's outside of the 300.
We would have to find a crossing on Lake Shore, come across and come down the sidewalk as a person walks. And it can't be within 300 feet of the property line of the church, from the nearest point of the building.
And it is outside that line?
It is outside there.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Cooper?
It does.
All right.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. Motion on the floor is to approve with steps by Ms. Osborne, second by Mr. Holland. But Ms. Osborne, if you would stipulate regarding beer, low alcohol versus high alcohol, and the hours that we're going to give him.
I have no problems with the 11 p.m. myself, but if you want to do it to 10, if that's your preference, that'll be fine. Beer and low alcoholic content.
Mr. Holland, you were second. Do you have any?
Second, no, I'm good.
Is it 11 or 10?
Yeah,
I don't know.
right. Are we voting on 11 or 10? Do you 10? Mr. Bergeron, do you have an opinion on hours?
I have no opinion.
I would say let's do 10 o'clock, just 'cause I think that might help the neighborhood a little bit. Do you have a problem with that?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, I mean,
No, that's fine.
okay. Only because he said it's okay. If he really had
I
argument.
think that'll be just fine.
Yeah, if you really had an argument for it, I might think differently, but I think that would help. All right, so we're voting on beer, low alcoholic content, and no variance for hours, so he will have 10 o'clock by right. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Case BAP 32-14. $7,700 East Kings Highway. I will take the opportunity while you're setting up, since there are two people presenting, that we can only hear from one at a time. Once one person has spoken, they cannot come back. Just want to be clear.
Unless they're the rebuttal.
Unless they're the rebuttal, of course. But you can't tag team.
Or the opposition.
Right, or the opposition. Which we've had happen before. Someone spoke both times. It was interesting. All right, whenever you're ready. Oh, where did Ione go? She went to get, okay.
I just feel sorry for
Then
I'll
we
go
will-
ahead and introduce
then we
myself.
will wait for that. Here we go. All right.
My name is Adam Foray, 7700 East Kings Highway, 71115. This is my wife, Catherine Foray. Ready? So one of the things that I'd like to do this afternoon is to kind of let you understand a little bit about who we are, who our business is, and what we are, particularly in regards to parking is why we're here this afternoon. But I think this will help understand workflow and help with decisions moving forward. So my wife and I are both veterinarians, and we work at University Veterinary Hospital, and we own University Veterinary Hospital on East Kings Highway, and we have been at this location since 1981, operating as a veterinary clinic the hospital's been open since 1981. We're a little different veterinary clinic, and I think that's what I want to talk to you about this afternoon. That we are one of less than 13% veterinary clinics in the United States that is approved by the American Animal Hospital Association. So this is a governing board that comes in and basically looks us over top to bottom and to make sure that we're doing things at the highest level. We're also a specialty clinic that we do have board certified specialists, and this is a big difference. This is a big difference in workflow. This is a big difference in what we do every day. We're the only specialty clinic accredited by the American Animal Hospital Association in Louisiana. This includes the veterinary school, so we actually beat them to this. So this just lets you know kind of who we are. But we are a blended practice. We're a blended practice between both general practice as well as specialty practice. So what does this mean? We have the only specialist or only specialty veterinarians within a 200-mile radius. So we are a referral center. We have people traveling from out of town to use our services, and we receive referrals every day from a regional area, from East Texas, from Arkansas, from all across North Louisiana. This is kind of an example of last week, kind of what we saw, patients from out of town, patients that are coming into the area. That last week we had about 8 patients that came in from out of town. 7 of them spent 4 to 6 hours during the day while we were caring for and treating their loved ones. And they're in our stores. They're eating at our restaurants. They're spending time in the Shreveport area. We had one family that spent 3 nights in Shreveport. They had a very sick animal, and they wanted to be here. They were from East Texas, and they wanted to be right here with their pet while this was going on. So this is something that people are coming in for. At our current location, we decided about 1.5 years ago that we need to expand. We need to get bigger with who we are and what we're offering and what we're able to offer in the future moving forward. So we hired a veterinary architect, and there are such things as veterinary architects. His name is Sal Longo. And veterinary architects specialize in all sorts of things, but they specialize in odor, in air exchange, in workflow, and durability. And so he helped us design this building, and with this, sound is important, both internal and external sound. We want to be green, we want to be environmental friendly, the smell, the way that we clean up things, and sanitation, and essentially no impact on our environment or neighbors. He also designed us and helped us design this from a workflow and parking standpoint, that how do we get people in, how do we get people out, how do we take care of people while they're here. And a veterinary clinic is a little bit different. A veterinary clinic is different than a human hospital. A veterinary clinic is different than a convenience store, because while its footprint is big, the public and the area that the public actually is involved with in here is actually relatively very small, and I'll show you an example of this. But this is what we aim to build, and this is including our existing veterinary hospital and adding a veterinary and specialty clinic in the back, and then wrapping around where we'll actually have services that come around to the side. So with this, before we were offering the specialty services in this area, people from North Louisiana would have to travel either to Baton Rouge or to Dallas, and now they're able to come to us right here in Shreveport. So this is what the footprint looks like. We are on a triangular piece of property. This is East Kings Highway that comes in front of the clinic right now. And so what we have currently is 17 parking spots that come in front, to the side, and along the fence boundary. And where we aim to with this building is to build out to a total of 42 spots. This is the entrance to the hospital right here, centrally located in the middle of the parking itself. So this is the areas defined by use, and this is one of the differences with the veterinary clinic, is that the areas in pink that you see here, these are the public areas, these are the reception areas, these are where someone that is desiring our services would go in this hospital. They're going to be either in an examination room, a consult room, or in the reception areas. The areas in blue are the areas where staff is going to be most of the time. This is where staff, doctors, this is where things are happening, this is where treatment is happening. A big part of what we do when we look at this footprint is there are a lot of services being provided. So from a veterinary clinic standpoint, we vary differently from the typical veterinary clinic model in that we're doing a lot of treatments, we're doing a lot of diagnostics, we're doing a lot of things that take time. And so when you look at this, there are 2 surgery rooms, there's a dental suite, we do a lot of advanced dentistry, there's some ICU areas for very sick animals, some oxygen cages, there's an ultrasound room, there is an x-ray room, this is actually a staff lounge. We have isolation for very sick pets that have communicable diseases that can spread to different areas. We have a chemotherapy room, so we do a lot of referrals for pets that have cancer that have to be with us for a couple of days during chemotherapy. We do iodine 131, which is radiation primarily for cats that have hyperthyroid disease, so we're implanting radioactive elements next to the thyroid gland that allow us to control that disease. This is a room where we actually do scopes, so we do a lot of minimally invasive procedures, both flexible scopes as well as rigid scopes, and that's something that we end up getting a lot of referrals for. This is a CT, so we are putting a CAT scan into this building, which takes up a lot of space as well too. We have right here a community blood bank. A year ago, we developed the North Louisiana Animal Community Blood Bank. So we actually have blood products that other veterinarians can get from us, but that we use when our own sick patients. So when we look at this and we look at what is the space that people are actually in, it comes out to about 10,500 square feet. And so this is kind of looking at some math and essentially where our architect came up with the 42 spots with this. When we look at our workflow and what we have historically, our average, both full-time and part-time, as well as kind of a 5-year projection where we want to be. Currently, we have about 4 full-time equivalent veterinarians in a given time period, and it takes about 12 support staff to handle that or to support them. Our projection is somewhere around 5.5 full-time equivalents within a 5-year expectation, and this is what we project as far as what the needs are going to be with that. So here's our historic average and kind of how our workflow works. That we start seeing appointments at 8:30 in the morning. We see appointments until 11:30 a.m. So with that, if we look at what is the historic average for that, a veterinarian in a given day can see about 12 appointments in a day. We multiply that times 4. The maximum number is about 48 interactions happening in a day. The average is somewhere around 32. 5-year projection where it puts us about 66 and 44 in adding staff to do that. So with this, kind of the way that the multiple appointments work is that our typical appointment is about 30 minutes long. That's for a health, wellness type visit. But we do have multiple times throughout the day appointments for both sick animals, diagnostics, and procedures. And these appointments, 1 to 2 hours is what I put here, but as in the example, with people that come from out of town, sometimes they're for 4 to 6 hours, just depending on what's going on. So the way that this has worked at our current location is for the last 3 years, we have used 17 spots that we currently have, and we have rented 10 spots that are excess spots from Bayou Rouge Apartments. So that puts us at 27 spots, and our historic average is easily accomplished with 27 spots for both staff and clients. So this is a picture. This is our hospital right here. This is our parking is here, and in front. And then these 10 spaces actually have signs up that says reserved for University Veterinary Hospital. So that's kind of a little about who we are and our workflow and why we're asking for variance and parking.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you. A question about the 10 spaces you rented. Did you rent those proactively or because you had a need for more parking than you had at the time? Or were you required by another governing body to
No,
obtain
it
those
was,
10?
it was proactive on our part, that a big part of who we are is customer service, keeping our customers parking by the front door. So as we've grown, it's something that we want to make sure it's easy and accessible to get out of our doors.
Mr. Clark?
Did you realize, Doctor, that the apartment complex may have some required parking of its own, and that these spaces that you could have rented would have been only spaces in excess of those required by the apartment complex, and that process should have gone through the MPC, our office, and did you go through that process?
Yes, sir.
I may have been unaware. I've only been zoning administrator for 20 years, and I may have been unaware of that process happening.
So what you're saying is that in order for me to rent spots from the neighbor, that should have gone through the MPC?
Because they should have been in excess of the parking that the apartment complex requires by ordinance, not by your, eyeballing and saying they have 10 spaces vacant every day.
Sure.
But actually by ordinance.
Sure. No, I understand. And we did look into that. So if you look in your packet, Jeff, do you have a copy of the packet? On the page, I believe it's the page right after the color diagram. And it kind of breaks down what the apartment complex has and what they are in excess from a code standpoint. So this, let's see. So it's the very bottom of this page right here.
Right.
Which Bayou's apartment complex has 108 paved parking complexes. The complex has 52 one-bedroom apartments requiring 1.5 parking spaces each, which equals 78 spots, and 10 two-bedroom apartments requiring 2 spaces each, which is 20 spots. So that puts them at 98 spots, and they have 108 spots currently.
We still need to have conversation after this.
Okay, I understand.
We don't think it's a problem, it just needs to be confirmed. All right. Mr. Bergeron?
I got a little confused on the number of people you see each day. When I'm looking at this chart that you gave, you said maximum appointments seen in the AM and PM is 6 each for 12.
Per doctor.
Okay.
So I'm multiplying it by 4 currently, and then by 5.5 for a 5-year projection.
Gotcha. That's the part I was missing, was per doctor, and so I took math in school.